Now part of the Darkcast Network. Welcome to Indie Podcasts with a dark side. In the world of true crime, some cases stand out, not only for their inherent tragedy, but also for their intricate web of deceit, betrayal, and murder. This is one such case. It's a case where the world of professional cycling collides with dark secrets, forbidden relationships, and a shocking murder. It's the case of Kaitlin Armstrong, right now on Love and Murder. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Love and Murder, the weekly true crime podcast discussing relationships gone terribly wrong, where our motto is, you're either someone's last love or their first murder. I am your host, Kai, and in today's episode, we're discussing a case of love, jealousy, and horrible decisions that led to murder. Before we begin, I want to say that this episode is sponsored by my lambs in Patreon. I always want to thank you all for all of your support. Be sure to subscribe to Love and Murder right now while you're listening so you don't miss a case. If you didn't know, you can also subscribe to our Patreon so you don't have to hear intros like this one or commercials, and you'll be a sponsor of Love and Murder. Also, in Patreon, we've added more extras for the ad-free tier, where the daily Kai Rant segment will now air. Patreon.com/Love and Murder. I'll talk more about our Patreon after the show. In the meantime, though, grab your butts, grab your apple juice, and let's get into some Love and Murder. Now, let me tell you that this case is currently ongoing, and everything I'm saying here is alleged. Anna Moriah Wilson, who was called Mo and was 25 at the time of this case, grew up in Vermont and was a competitive gravel and mountain cyclist who was becoming popular in the sport. I didn't even know there was a sport with gravel and mountain cyclists. I knew there was mountain biking, but gravel and mountain, I didn't even know. She'd actually won many races in the past 2 seasons and had just quit her job to focus on racing. In 2022, she'd had races planned for the entire summer, even one in East Africa. As of the time of this case, May 2022, she had come in from San Francisco to Hicko, Texas for a 157-mile race that would begin on May 14th. Colin Strickland was also a professional cyclist and had been with Mo romantically for a very short period, which by now had turned into a professional friendship. Colin lived in Austin, Texas with his girlfriend, 35-year-old Kaitlin Armstrong. Kaitlin met Colin on a dating app in October 2019. They had a rocky relationship where they'd broken up twice, including for a short time in October 2021, but they got back together. Now, during the early evening of May 11, 2022, Colin and Mo had met up at a place called Deep Eddy Pool to go swimming together. After that, they went and had dinner. Mo left her friend's house around 6 p.m. and got back home around 8:30 p.m. Well, got back to her friend's place around 8:30 p.m. Right before 10 p.m., however, Mo's friend came home to find Mo lying in the bathroom floor, dead of multiple gunshot wounds. 911 was called, and when they arrived, friends of Mo told them where she'd been that day and who she'd been with. Police brought Colin in for questioning the next day, and at first he denied knowing Mo, but police showed him texts in Mo's phone, which confirmed that they were having conversations and he had romantic ties to her. As a matter of fact, romantic ties when Colin was still with Kaitlin. After this, Colin changed his story. He confirmed what Mo's friend said. He'd gone fishing with Mo and out to dinner, but he dropped her off at her house she was visiting and never even went in. He also told them of his, quote, brief romantic relationship with Mo from late October to early November 2021. And right after that, he, quote, reconciled and resumed his relationship with his girlfriend, Kaitlin. But he decided to keep a, quote, platonic and professional relationship with Mo. Police were like, girlfriend, you say? Tell me more. So Colin did. He said that in his phone, he had to change Mo's name and keep deleted text messages, quote, to prevent Kaitlin from finding them. Upon going through Colin's phones, they saw texts that he showed when he lied to Kaitlin. So he lied to Kaitlin about where he was going and what he was doing and who he was with. Colin said, quote, to hide he was with Mo throughout the evening. During the investigation, an anonymous friend of Mo's told officers that Colin and Mo had an, quote, on-again, off-again relationship. Another anonymous call came in, and this person told investigators that Colin's current girlfriend had found out in January that Colin and Mo had been having a romantic relationship, and when she found this out, she, quote, became furious and was shaking in anger, end quote. She'd also told this tipster that she wanted to kill Mo and that she had, quote, either recently purchased a firearm or was going to. As the investigation proceeded, an autopsy was done on Mo's body and found that there were 3 gunshot wounds, 1 in the chest and 2 in the head. It also showed that this happened, allegedly, quote, after she was already laying supine on the floor. So basically she was laying flat on the floor, and then the person allegedly shot her after this. This was now treated as a homicide. Oh, back up. And that doesn't mean she was dead while laying on the floor. She was just laying on the floor like the person said, get down on the floor. Okay. So like I said, they now treated this as a homicide, and they turned their attention to Kaitlin as a person of interest. The reason they were looking at Kaitlin was because during the investigation, they had access to surveillance video. The video showed a dark SUV pull up to the house only 1 minute after Mo got back from swimming. The SUV had a luggage rack and a bike rack on it. Weird thing is, Kaitlin drove a dark 2012 Jeep Cherokee that had a luggage rack and a bike rack attached to it. Insane coinkydink? Investigators also found out that Kaitlin owned a 9mm handgun, and guess which shell casings they'd found on the scene? That's right, 9mm. On May 12th, police took Kaitlin into custody for an outstanding misdemeanor warrant for theft, and she was, quote, confronted with video evidence of her vehicle, but, quote, she had no explanation as to why it was in the area and did not make any denials surrounding the statements. When police questioned her more, specifically asking her about why Colin was with Mo, she, quote, turned her head and rolled her eyes in an angry manner. And when the questions continued, she asked to leave. Police ended up having to release her due to an error in the system with her date of birth and what the department's date of birth had in their system. So, she was basically released on a technicality. How crazy is that? Like, they knew who she was. They knew who they had, but they couldn't keep her in custody. Investigators found 2 guns at Colin's and Kaitlin's house. He told them that he had bought them for their protection. Police took Kaitlin's gun to do a ballistics test and said that the potential that it was the same gun used was, quote, significant. Investigation also found that Kaitlin and her sister, Kaitlin Armstrong, had recently gone to a shooting range, allegedly, quote, to learn how to use a firearm. An arrest warrant was issued for Kaitlin on first-degree murder on May 17th. Police went looking for her, but she was nowhere to be found. They saw that she'd deleted her social media, and Colin said the last time he saw her was on May 13th. The U.S. Marshals Lone Star Fugitive Task Force was dispatched to find her. They found her car a week later at a CarMax dealership in Austin. They found out that she'd sold it on May 13th for $12,200. During further investigation, they found that she flew out of Austin on May 14th, getting on a Southwest Airlines flight to Houston Hobby Airport, and then on a connecting flight to New York LaGuardia Airport. LaGuardia, I think it's LaGuardia Airport. Authorities rushed to intercept her, but found out that she had gotten transport from Newark Liberty International Airport on May 18th, and then used a passport that wasn't hers to get on a United Airlines flight to San Jose, Costa Rica. Quote, Armstrong presented a passport that did not belong to her, but belonged to someone that was closely associated with her. Authorities then began investigating the use of the passport. They also continued searching for her. They asked the public for help and initially offered a $5,000 reward for information leading to her arrest. Investigators found out that Kaitlin got to Costa Rica and she immediately started using different aliases, including the name Beth Martin. Quote, she was really trying to build something where she could instruct yoga there in Costa Rica. Marshals went door to door. Damn, they went door to door trying to track Kaitlin, quote, from yoga establishment to other yoga establishments. Authorities began receiving tips, over 80 nationwide, and upped the reward from $5,000 to a combined $21,000 reward.
If you like small town mystery, crazy news, and wild history, then the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast is for you. Each week, Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty bring you the absolute best Florida has to offer. So if you're looking for a show that's safe for the family, but funny enough to help you escape everyday life, then listen to the Florida Men on Florida Man podcast. That's Florida Men, plural, on Florida Man podcast.
Ready to supercharge your shopping experience? Discover Rakuten. Rakuten is your all-in-one destination for online shopping with amazing deals, cashback, and more. Sign up now and enjoy $40 cash back on your first purchase. But hurry, this limited time offer ends on November 16th, 2023, and is only good for new subscribers and only good with my link. Why Rakuten? It's simple. Earn cash back on the things you love to buy and shop from your favorite brands all in one place. Look, this isn't just me telling you about Rakuten. I've been a member for years and have received actual checks from them. It's shopping a sale and getting even more of a discount just from shopping. Join millions of shoppers, including me, who are already earning while they shop with Rakuten. Visit Rakuten today using my link in the show notes below and start getting cash back on your purchases. It's free, easy, and rewarding. Don't miss out on the $40 cash back. Sign up now and shop smarter with Rakuten. Don't forget, this offer ends on the 16th of this month. murderandlove.com/recommends/Rakuten. But the link is in the show notes below. Just click on it. Rakuten, where shopping rewards you. And now, back to the show. After 43 days at large, on Wednesday, June 29th, 2022, Kaitlin was found at a hostel in Santa Teresa, Costa Rica, and arrested. She'd been posing under different names and trying to work at different yoga studios. When police arrested her, she claimed that she wasn't this Kaitlin person that everybody kept talking about. Investigators noticed that she'd significantly changed her appearance by dyeing her hair darker brown and cutting her long hair short, to shoulder length actually. She also had a bandaged nose and some discoloration around her eyes, which she told them had come from a surfboarding accident. However, I'd like to choose nose job for 100, Alex. In the 6-hour drive to the site where she would be deported, she, quote, eventually confessed to her true identity. Shocked, I tell you. We would have never known who she was. That brown hair got darker brown, and her long hair was cut short. Nobody's ever done that. And the discoloration around her eyes from a surfboarding accident, the bandage on her nose, clever disguise. We would have never thought nose job. My God, she should be a spy. She was deported, returned to the U.S., and booked into the Travis County Jail on charges of felony first-degree murder. She pled not guilty. Kaitlin was held on a $3.5 million bond. On October 11th, 2023, a couple weeks before her trial, Kaitlin was taken to a doctor's office, and when leaving the office, she just booked it. She just started running. Her police guard ordered her to stop, but she kept going. I mean, really, she started running and you're just going to be like, halt! And she's going to be like, all right, you caught me. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. If you hadn't said the word stop, I'd have just kept going. Crazy, huh? So anyway, she kept running and she tried to scale a 6-foot fence. I guess she got over it. Then she took off her black and white striped uniform pants, got her left hand out of her restraints. Oh my God, how did you do that? And then just kept running. She was running. She managed to get a mile before officers captured her. During her escape attempt, she injured an officer. Quote, she made it about a block and a half. Our corrections officer never lost sight of her. Kaitlin now faces charges of escape while causing bodily harm, which is a second-degree felony. Later, a judge ruled that the prosecution could include the escape attempt as part of their case against Kaitlin. Investigators alleged that for some months, Kaitlin was preparing for an escape. They found that Kaitlin had been, quote, exercising vigorously for these months and that she made an appointment with a doctor for an injury complaint with a, quote, medical request restricting the use of leg restraints. 2 weeks after her attempted escape on October 30th, the jury trial began and jury selection started. A jury of 8 women and 6 men were selected. On November 1st, opening statements were presented. Quote, "The last thing Mo Wilson did on this earth was scream in terror," the prosecution said. Quote, "You'll hear those screams." They also played the first responders' body camera showing them performing CPR on Mo the night she died. Prosecutor Ricky Jones said that the days before Kaitlin was arrested, she spent $6,425 on plastic surgery, quote, to change her appearance. "You don't say. So it wasn't a surfing accident?" Attorney Jones said that the prosecution planned to present cell phone data, video, ballistics, and DNA evidence that proves Kaitlin killed Mo. This will include testimony from a DNA expert who will testify that there's a, quote, very strong likelihood that Caitlin's DNA was pulled from Mo's bike, which investigators had found outside of her friend's home. Defense attorney Jeffrey Puryear said that Kaitlin is, quote, passionate about traveling, and during the days after the shooting, quote, weird things were happening at her home that would, quote, cause a reasonable person to fear for their safety. That ultimately led to her decision to leave Austin, end quote. He also said that Kaitlin was caught in a, quote, web of circumstantial evidence, and she only went to Costa Rica because she was passionate about traveling and about yoga. Put those two together and it only leads you outside of the country. And she couldn't have known about the warrant for her arrest. It's just one huge coincidence, Your Honor. We're good? Everybody good? Can we go home? No? Oh, okay. Quote, "I will say she had a bandage on her nose with a little bit of discoloration under her eyes. Her statement was that it came from a surfboard incident, and I think we'll leave it just at that." The defense also claimed that the affidavit submitted to obtain a warrant for her arrest was, quote, rife with false statements, material omissions, reckless exaggerations, and gross mischaracterizations made with a reckless disregard for the truth, end quote, and made the allegation that an Austin police detective illegally interrogated Kaitlin. They sought motions to suppress evidence, but the judge says, no. So their motion was denied. On November 2nd, the prosecution played the surveillance video showing that allegedly Caitlin's car was there, as well as video that caught Mo's screams and the gunshots, all 3 of them. On November 3rd, Colin took the stand to talk about his relationship with both women. Now, I'll be reading more in depth of the testimony in my Patreon, as well as keeping up with the case. At the conclusion of the trial, I'll do an update episode for everyone, Patreon and outside of Patreon. This trial is expected to last 2 weeks. And if convicted, Kaitlin could face up to 99 years in prison, plus another 20 years for the escape attempt. Prosecutors are not pursuing the death penalty in this case. Mo is survived by her brother and parents. Her family gave a statement to ABC News which said that they are, quote, devastated by the loss of our beautiful daughter and sister. There are no words that can express the pain and suffering we are experiencing due to this senseless, tragic loss. Moriah was a talented, kind, and caring young woman. Her life was taken from her before she had the opportunity to achieve everything she dreamed of. Our family and all those who love her will forever miss her, end quote. They also wanted to let everyone know that, at the time of her death, Mo wasn't romantically involved with anyone. Mo's family wants to, quote, share Moriah's life and legacy to inspire and enrich the lives of others. With her visibility and presence in the cycling world, she wanted to empower young women athletes, encourage people of all walks of life to find joy and meaning through sports, community, and inspire all to chase their dreams, end quote. So, what do you think about this case so far? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and you have 3 ways of sharing them with me. You could tell me in the comments below. Or you can join the Lamb Facebook group. It's free and a welcoming group where you can discuss the cases with the rest of the Lambs. Or, my personal preference, you can join the exclusive Lamb community here at patreon.com/love and murder. Right now, we have options starting at only $3 a month donation. Speaking of which, if you join Patreon at the $3 a month, you get commercial-free episodes. So like this episode, minus the commercials, minus the intro, and also with all the additions of the case. Pictures, videos, pictures of evidence, all of that if the case has it. Right now, this case is still ongoing, so all I have are pictures, and they kind of have a gag order, so there's no video of testimony or anything like that right now. But if and when it becomes available, I will be uploading that in our Patreon. And also the added bonus of getting daily Kai rants in our Patreon for our $3 a month tier. The best tier, however, is the $5 a month and above, because not only do you get all of these things, but you also get bonus episodes and access to everything that I post throughout the web. You'll get all this here in this one little community, patreon.com/love and murder. Don't forget, I'm trying to get to 500 Patreon by the end of 2024. No matter what you donate, I will be grateful for it. And finally, a free and easy way to help me out is by simply sharing this episode. Click on the share icon and share everywhere. Share on WhatsApp, share on your social media, share with your mom, share with your friend, share with your boyfriend, share with your ex-boyfriend. Share. And as always, I end each episode by reminding you that it's all love and no murder, y'all. Bye.